This webinar will walk you through the budget development portion of the FDPNE application template. In this example, the applicant plans to conduct a series of nutrition education classes with a cooking demonstration. The applicant also plans to create and distribute a nutrition-themed calendar. The budget narrative section is divided into 9 subsections labeled with the letters A through I. In Section A, you should indicate if you are requesting a waiver of the 20% match requirement. If the answer is yes, indicate what percentage waiver you are requesting. For this example, we're not going to request a match waiver. In Section B, you will list any personnel you are requesting funding for. You should be sure to list their full salary and what percentage you are requesting funding for. In addition, your narrative or budget justification should state why they are critical to accomplishing your project and achieving your goal. In this example, we're requesting 100% of a project coordinator salary and 50% of a nutrition educator salary. As we did not request a match waiver, we will indicate how much of the salary we are requesting from federal funds and how much the applicant plans to match. Remember, if you request a match waiver of 100%, you will leave the matching funds column blank. Please double-check your math when completing the subtotal row. In Section C of the budget narrative, you will list your organization's fringe benefit rate and then any fringe benefits you are requesting for specific personnel included in Section B. In this example, we have a 30% fringe benefit rate. Therefore, we're asking for 30% of the full-time employee project coordinator salary, 30% of $41,600, and we're asking for 30% of the partial nutrition educator salary, or 30% of $26,000. In this example, we're indicating how much the applicant is willing to provide as a match. Again, we're double-checking our math when completing the subtotal row. If part of your project involves the use of contract work, you will include this in Section D of the budget narrative. Contract work is performed at an hourly rate for a set number of hours. If this section does not apply to your project, you can leave this section blank. For this example, we are going to contract a graphic designer for the nutrition calendar. We have a quote saying that it will cost around $2,400. Section E of the budget narrative includes both out-of-state travel, E1, and in-state travel, E2. Any travel must directly relate to activities you have listed in your project timeline. You will be asked to provide a rough estimate of costs for flights, mileage, lodging, and per diem. Not all rows will apply, depending on your mode of transportation and length of trip. Leave the cells blank that do not apply to your project. In this example, we are including out-of-state travel costs for our project coordinator and nutrition educator to attend a nutrition conference that will inform their classes. We are including actual flight costs at the time we complete our application and per diem rates for lodging and meals and incidentals for the destination city. Our in-state travel costs in Section E2 for this example include travel to each site where we will conduct nutrition education classes. Section F of the budget narrative will contain all of the materials and supplies you will need to purchase to carry out your project. Materials and supplies are items with a unit cost of less than $5,000. Anything costing more than $5,000 per unit is considered equipment and will be listed in Section G. All materials and supplies requested should directly relate to the project activities. Refer to the list of items F&S will consider funding in Section 2 of the RFA. Keep in mind that nutrition education reinforcement materials, also commonly referred to as incentives, should have a unit cost of $5 or less and no more than 3 nutrition education reinforcement materials will be funded for each grant application. In this example, we are requesting funding for supplies for our nutrition education classes and cooking demonstrations. We are not requesting any equipment in Section G. You will list all other costs in Section H of the budget narrative. This includes things that do not fall within the other categories, such as postage. In this example, we are requesting funding to print the nutrition education calendars. Section I is your project total cost. You will add all of the subtotals listed in sections B through H for federal and matching funds columns and list them in row I-1. You should then use your organization's indirect cost rate agreement to determine which funds to apply the indirect cost rate to. Row I-3 will then add the indirect cost rate to the total direct cost for federal and matching funds. You will then add the total federal funds requested and the total matching funds contributed to determine the total project cost. If you did not request a match waiver, you can check that your request meets the match requirement by using the match calculator provided as an Excel file in the Application Related Documents tab on grants.gov. For this example, our total project cost is $111,414. Using the match calculator, our match amount should at least be $22,283. We have agreed to match more than 20% at $27,854, so we meet our match requirement. It is very important that your budget is accurately calculated to ensure you receive all the necessary funding to carry out your project. We recommend having 2 or 3 people double check your work prior to submission.